This is Memories of Fear. Everything is real. Welcome to Memories of Fear.
So my grandparents live in Tijuana. Well, they lived because they both passed. Their house is located about 10 minutes from the border here in San Diego to Tijuana. And the house was built back in the 70s. My grandparents and my uncles built the house themselves. They didn't hire anyone to build the house. They did everything themselves since my grandpa was in construction. Back in the 70s, there wasn't a lot of houses in that area of Tijuana, and a lot of people say that that area was used to throw bodies. People would just get rid of bodies in that lot. It was a huge lot. Like I said, there wasn't many houses, nothing, no streets. So when people started building in that area, they actually live in a closed-off, gated community. It's lots of houses, over 100 houses there. They're all different, all very old. When they started building, they actually discovered many bones. My mom says that they were dog bones, but my uncles say that there was no way those bones were from a dog because they were big bones. Like, it would have to be a huge dog for that to be dog bones. Things started happening since they built the house. People would come over, friends would come over. They would see this little man walking around the house. In Mexican culture, they're known as duendes. There was no little man living there. It especially happened when outsiders came in. My grandma used to have a lot of people come from Zacatecas, that's where they're from, and they would come and stay there. And there were people that weren't able to stay there overnight because things happened to them. One common thing was this little man. Everyone would talk about this old man that they would see walking around the house. My mom has seen it. My cousins had seen it. My grandparents had seen it. Right now, we still have family members that live there. I have 2 uncles, 1 aunt, and my cousin that live in that house. And up to this day, they still see things. Back in 2007, my grandma died. After she passed, they had a mass for her, and they called a thing called, I'm not sure the word in English, but in Spanish it's called a novenario, where the priest would come out to the house and do 9 days of praying to help the soul get to heaven. And during those 9 days, while he was praying inside the house, lots of weird things happened. We would hear doors shutting, closing and opening upstairs, furniture being dragged. Literally everyone was downstairs and everything was happening upstairs. My mom is one of 8, so there's a total of 8 siblings, and my mom is the oldest. Priest, one of the days after, approached my mom and was like, has anything happened here? I feel some type of energy. And my mom was like, yeah, we've been experiencing things since we were really young, since we built the house. And people, when outsiders or strangers or new people come to the house, they always experience something paranormal. The priest asked, has the house been blessed before? And mom was like, it's been blessed multiple times. It's been multiple times that we've done it. Things just continue happening. It was a Catholic priest, and he was like, you know what, like once 9 days are up, I'm going to come back and I would like all the siblings to be here so that we can bless the house together. The way the house is set up, it has upstairs, it has 7 rooms, downstairs it has 2, and then it has a big living room, a big kitchen, a backyard, and a front yard. So from the front to the back of the house, there's very long hallways. Once you enter the house, you go through the living room, and then you go through a long hallway. Then you see the bottom of the stairs, and then you go up the stairs, and then upstairs is another long hallway with a bunch of rooms. The priest said, okay, all the siblings get in a line, and we're going to start walking, and I'm going to walk behind you with the holy water, praying and blessing the house. It's 8 of them and the priest in the back. My dad was downstairs, like he was just sitting down, and then everybody else was just hanging out. And my cousin was also walking, but not in the straight line with them. They went through the bottom and then they worked their way up to the top, and my cousin stayed downstairs. When you're coming down the stairs, you come straight down, and then there's like a little rest area. Then you turn right, and then another right, and you continue walking down the steps. And once you're down the steps, you turn right, there's a big step, and then you make a left to continue on the hallway. So it's like a little confusing. It's like a lot of turns, but just remember that coming down the steps, you step down, and then you have to make a right, then take one more step down, and then you can continue. My cousin was standing right there at the last step. She was in front of one of the rooms. That door was closed. The door to that room was closed, but she was just hanging out there. She was waiting for them to come down. She was standing in front of that door, and everyone came down the steps. Like all of my mom and her siblings came down, and they made it down safely. No issues. But then when the priest came, he continued blessing, and he was, throwing around the holy water. As he was coming down, he made it down the steps safely, like the staircase safely. And then he turned to the right, and he faced my cousin. My cousin was right there. And he was about to take that last step, and he fell forward. So my cousin thought, he just fell. But the priest got up and was like, they pushed me. Somebody pushed me. Like, I didn't trip. Somebody pushed me. Everyone came back and ran back and was like, what happened? And then he was like, somebody pushed me. Like, they don't want me here. And then after that, the priest, shortly, maybe 2 years later, he died because the family kept in touch with him. He was an older man, but nothing happened after that. That was the only thing that happened to that priest. But my cousin said, you should have seen the look on his face. He looked scared. He knew he was pushed. The worst things that have happened in that house, for the most part, have happened to strangers, not to family. Another priest was supposed to come bless the house after my grandpa passed, which was in 2015. But for some reason, he didn't make it out, so we didn't get the house blessed again. But even my grandpa was 105 years old when he died. So he was an old man. In the middle of the night, he would wake up screaming because he would say that somebody was hitting his head in his sleep. He would wake up with bruises sometimes. Mind you, he was 105 years old, and he started saying that since maybe 100. And yeah, maybe he was old, but the bruising, So my aunt had to sleep in the bedroom next to him because every night he would wake up and scream. I'm speaking from my Catholic background. In the Catholic church, people believe that when you move into a new place or when you have a new house, it's always important to get it blessed by a priest, just to cleanse the house, just to make sure that any bad energies or bad spirits kind of leave, which is why they had the priest come, because many things have been happening. The main reason to get the house blessed is to cleanse it from bad energies and bad spirits. My cousins and I constantly talk about this. When we would stay the night there with my grandma, rest in peace. When we were little, I remember we were scared to stay there with her because of the way she prayed. She prayed very differently. She would bless all the corners of the house, like around her in a way. And she would murmur for a long time. And I remember my cousin and I, the one that I'm telling you about that still lives there, we would cover our ears when she started praying because we were so scared of it. I've never seen anybody pray like that. You know, she did the normal rosary and stuff, but she would bless every single side of her. She would bless the ceiling. She would bless the floors, the windows. She would do the cross motion with her hand and bless it. Well, I'm thinking she was blessing it because she was praying, but her praying lasted maybe an hour. And it was, she blessed, she prayed over the bed. She prayed over every single corner of her room. So my cousins and I and my sister, we didn't like it. So we would either try to go to sleep before she started praying, or we would just cover our ears because it was really scary. She wasn't too social. She didn't really like making new friends. But she was very loving to us and played with us. And, you know, just your typical grandma. It's really strange because they've done some changes to the house. So now there's 2 rooms in the bottom. But back then when I was little, it used to be a huge living room. Now they made half of that living room into a room. But before, it used to be just one huge rectangular living room. So if you were sitting on one end of the house on the couch and you were looking straight ahead, you would see a little window. That window led to the laundry room, which is weird because why would they place a window inside the house, right? That's weird. So my grandma says that because my grandma told us this when we were younger, she would look up and she would see somebody walking through that window. She said the way she described them was a little man, mind you, it's a window, so no more than 4 feet, maybe even less than that. She would just see hair, like the tips of hair standing up like that, just walking by the window. This one time there was this other man that came from their hometown in Zacatecas, and he came and he was supposed to stay there for a whole week before finding his new place to live. A lot of people came over here because they were looking for work in Tijuana. He was upstairs and he stayed in one of the other rooms. Like I said, there's 7 rooms upstairs. So he was laying there. This is what he says. In the morning when my grandma woke up, she found him laying outside of the house. So my grandma was like, what are you doing out here? Like, why are you out here? You know, you have a room upstairs. We have a bunch of rooms. He's like, yeah, I cannot sleep here anymore. And that guy left and he never came back to the house. At night, he was laying in bed and he said he kept feeling like they were pulling his blanket down little by little. And he was sleeping in a queen size bed, or full size, queen size. And he says that he could feel, like literally feel somebody sitting. You know how you can feel when somebody sits next to you on the bed? It kind of goes down a little bit. He could feel that. So he would stand up and like look around and there was nothing. He would go back to sleep and he said that slowly they would pull the blankets down. He would get up and look around and nothing, go back down, cover himself again, started falling asleep, and slowly the blanket started coming off again. Finally, like it was like 2, 3 in the morning, he wakes up and he sees a little man standing in front of him. The way he described it is similar to the way my grandma described him. A really short man, older face, but he says that his hair was very spiky, like spiked up hair, like that. And then he says that he was really short and he was wearing like a coat and like light pants, almost like khaki pants. And he ran out of the room and he never looked back. And he didn't go back to sleep at that house. He rented a hotel and went to go stay at the hotel. Instead of saving money, he decided to go stay at a hotel because of his experiences there. Christmas, we have a big party there. It gets to the point that I have a younger sister. My younger sister and a couple of my cousins will not go to the bathroom by themselves. I'm talking about my cousin pulls my other cousin into the bathroom because she will not go alone. Ever since my grandma died, nobody has seen the little men anymore. So when my grandma died, that was the last time that they saw the little men around the house. My cousin says that she thinks it has to do with the family because it expands to other houses outside of that house, but within the family. Which has made us wonder, like maybe something did happen that we don't know about with my grandma or my grandpa, or because a lot of my cousins see things, hear things, even here in the US. So it extends, it crosses borders. I don't know if it goes with people. I don't know what it does. Thankfully, here at my house, nothing has happened to me, and I hope nothing happens to me. But a lot of my family, yeah, they experience things like they've grown so used to it.
Stay tuned for the next memory.